BS College Danapur is really very glad on this auspicious and so pleasant morning for this webinar session on the topic ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis. So let me introduce you the eminent guests today we have with us, and it's our honor and pleasure that we have our Vice Chancellor of Patliputra University, Professor Gulab Chand Ram Jaiswal. Sir, very good morning, and wholeheartedly I welcome you from entire management department of BS College Danapur. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. And I welcome our patron, who is the principal of BS College Danapur, Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar. I would like to welcome and a few words I just wanted to mention about the dynamic and visionary and very dashing personality, our patron, Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar. He is the person behind initiating the management department and has put all effort tirelessly to bring in or to initiate the management department in BS College Danapur. And he worked day and night to get the AICTE approval for management as well as the vocational courses. So I welcome you, sir, and thank you for joining us today. I would like to welcome our speakers, Mr. Manoj Sinha, MD, Bihar Chamber of Commerce, Indian Institute of Leadership and Enterprise Department Development. We are glad, sir, that you are here. And the next person, the speaker we have, that is Dr. Rishikesh Kumar, Assistant Professor, FMS NIFT Patna. We are really thankful and very glad to see you this morning, sir. I welcome you all, sir. Now I am really very much excited to see the entire BS College department, the management department, including the entire faculty members of different stream today, as our organizing secretary, Professor Dr. Anjum Ashrafi, head of department history, and he is the coordinator of MBA. I welcome our convener, Dr. Ashutosh Kumar, head of department political science. I welcome joint convener, Dr. Manju Pandey, head of department English, Dr. Shambhunath Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Management. I welcome Advisory Committee, Professor Dr. Vivekanand Singh, Professor Dr. Rajni Mishra, Dr. Anil Kumar, Dr. Anil Nath, Dr. Chitralekha, Dr. D.S. Ruby, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Dr. Firoz Ansari. And I'm really very glad to know that there are so many participants from all over the country who have joined us today. So it's very exciting to see the participants from all over the country. Again, it's my privilege to welcome one and all. Just for a little housekeeping before we get started. It is for the participants that if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box given to you, and I'll bring them up at the end for our eminent speaker to explain on it. Now, I would like to call or to inaugurate our Vice Chancellor, since we are privileged that today our Vice Chancellor, Professor Gulab Chand Ram Jaiswal sir, has joined us. So I'm very much honored, and sir, with all my heart, I'm welcoming you to inaugurate this webinar. Kindly welcome Professor Gulab Chand Ram Jaiswal sir, Vice Chancellor of Patliputra University. Sir. Once again, I would like to make a request to Professor Gulab Chand Ram Jaiswal, the Vice Chancellor of Patliputra University, to inaugurate this webinar सर।
शुरू करें हम?
यस सर।
हेलो हेलो।
यस सर, वाइस चांसलर सर, योर वॉइस इज वेरी मच ऑडिबल सर।
आ रही है आवाज?
यस सर।
ठीक है। इस वेबिनार जो ग्राउंड रियलिटी ऑफ द बिहारी माइग्रेंट लेबर ड्यूरिंग कोविड-19 crisis organized by the Department of Management, BS College Danapur. Patron of the webinar is Professor Praveen Kumar, Principal of the BS College. Organizing Secretary of the webinar, Professor Dr. Anjum Asarfi, HOD History Department, and guest speaker Sri Manoj Sinha ji, Indian Institute of Leadership and Enterprise Development, and another keynote speaker Dr. Rishikesh Kumar, FMS, NIFT Patna, National Institute of Fashion Technology, and some other dignitaries, those in print and electronic media, and some other advisory joint convener of the webinar. मित्रों, ये कि बिहार में मैनेजमेंट इस डिपार्टमेंट के द्वारा बिहारी प्रवासी मजदूरों की जमीनी हकीकत के बारे में जो इस तरह का वेबिनार का आयोजन किया गया है, सर्वप्रथम मैं बीएस कॉलेज के प्राचार्य महोदय को इसके लिए शुभकामनाएं प्रेषित करता हूं। जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि बिहार की जनगणना लगभग 12 करोड़ है, इसमें 27 लाख करीब अप्रवासी मजदूर हैं जो देश के विभिन्न भागों में अपनी रोजी रोटी की तलाश में काम करने के लिए बिहार से बाहर जाते हैं। और अभी हमने देखा कि जितने बिहार ही नहीं, जो अन्य यूपी है, राजस्थान है, मध्य प्रदेश है, अन्य प्रदेशों में जो भी हमारे अप्रवासी मजदूर हैं, इस कोविड जैसी महामारी के कारण जहाँ जो ये अप्रवासी मजदूर कार्य कर रहे थे, इसके कारण उनको अपने जो है घर वापसी आना पड़ा। और हमारे बिहार में भी काफी संख्या में अप्रवासी मजदूर वापस आए हैं, जिनकी समस्याओं के समाधान के लिए आज ही हमारे देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक योजना का शुभारंभ किया है, गरीब कल्याण रोजगार योजना। इसकी चर्चा हम बाद में करेंगे, लेकिन मजदूरों की क्या स्थिति है, क्या इनकी मजदूरी दी जाती है, और प्रदेश सरकार ने भी इस दिशा में क्या क्या कार्य किया है, इनकी जमीनी हकीकत क्या है, ग्राउंड रियलिटी क्या है, इसके बारे में बहुत सारे 2 स्पीकर हैं और कई स्पीकर हैं, इसके बारे में विशेष चर्चा करेंगे। बिहार सरकार में मजदूरों के लिए जो वृद्धि के आधार पर सरकार साल में 2 बार मजदूरी तय करती है। साल में 2 बार वृद्धि होने वाले मजदूरी दर बीते 1 अप्रैल 19 को लागू हुई थी। 1 अक्टूबर से लागू होने वाले मजदूरी दर में 9 रुपए से 14 रुपए तक की वृद्धि की गई और नई मजदूरी दर की अधिसूचना श्रम संसाधन विभाग ने जारी भी कर दिया और यह तत्काल प्रभाव से लागू हुई है। जहाँ तक मजदूरों के वर्गीकरण का बात है, कई तरह के से मजदूर आते हैं, स्किल्ड है, सेमी स्किल्ड है, स्किल्ड है। तो अब अकुशल मजदूरों के लिए मजदूरी की दर जो है 268 रुपए रोजाना तय की गई थी। इसमें से 9 रुपए की वृद्धि होने के बाद 270 रुपए कर दिया गया। वहीं यह मजदूरी दर अर्ध कुशल मजदूरों के लिए 279 से 10 रुपए बढ़ाकर 289 रुपए कर दिया गया। जबकि कुशल मजदूरों को 340 रुपए के बदले 12 रुपए, 352 रुपए रोजगार का मिलेगा। वहीं अति कुशल मजदूरों की मजदूरी को बढ़ाकर 415 से 429 रुपए ही कर दिया गया। अब यह जहां तक इनके हकीकत की बात, अब सवाल ये उठता है कि जब बिहार में मिनिमम वेजेज एक्ट लागू है, फिर भी लगभग 27 लाख प्रवासी मजदूर तो आखिर क्यों दूसरे प्रदेशों में बाहर रोजगार के लिए जाना पड़ता है। जहां तक आप बिहार के इतिहास को देखें, पहले झारखंड भी इसी स्टेट में था। जितनी माइनिंग थी, रोजगार थे, जमशेदपुर, धनबाद, जितने भी थे, बंटवारे के बाद जो स्थिति हुई है, झारखंड में चला गया। और निसंदेह प्रतीत होता है, इसके कई कारण है, जैसे कि बिहार में उद्योग धंधों की भी कमी है। इसका इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन जितना होना चाहिए उतना इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो नहीं पाया है। दूसरी चीज है कि कृषक मजदूरों की संख्या में अधिक वृद्धि, क्योंकि यहाँ जनसंख्या भी जो पहले 10 करोड़ थी अब 12 करोड़ हो गई है। अभी भी करंट में जनगणना हुआ नहीं है। और इसी तरह से कृषि मजदूरी में मुनाफा का न होना, जो रोजगार जो इनको 324 रुपये 429 रुपये मिलते हैं, आज के परिवेश में जो महंगाई की दर है, ऐसे समय में इनको जो भी इनको मिलता है, इससे इनकी रोजी रोटी तो चल जाती है, लेकिन किसी तरह से इसको सेविंग नहीं कर सकते हैं। इसी तरह से कुशल श्रमिकों की भी कमी है। इनकी शिक्षा दीक्षा का भी बहुत अभाव है। जो लिटरेसी परसेंट है बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है मजदूरों में, इसलिए भी इनको जो है इस कार्य में लिप्त होना पड़ता है। प्रति व्यक्ति आय जो है बहुत ही कम है यहाँ पर, क्योंकि ये इंडस्ट्रियल स्टेट है नहीं अन्य राज्यों की अपेक्षा। दूसरे प्रदेशों में श्रम की भारी मांग का होना और उनकी कुशलता के अनुरूप उनकी मजदूरी दूसरे प्रदेशों में बेहतर एवं जीवन स्तर है। जैसे कि यहाँ से जो मजदूर प्रवासी जाते हैं, पंजाब जाते हैं, हरियाणा जाते हैं, आंध्र प्रदेश में जाते हैं, महाराष्ट्र में जाते हैं, ये बहुत ही इंडस्ट्रियलाइज्ड स्टेट जहाँ है, वहाँ पर कल कारखानों में रोजगार की, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में हो चाहे कोई भी सेक्टर हो, इनके रोजगार के अवसर उपलब्ध रहते हैं। अभी जबकि इनका मजदूरों का कोरोना इसी बीमारी के बाद पलायन हुआ था, अभी सरकारी हमारे मजदूर जहाँ जहाँ कार्य करते थे अब धीरे गति से अपने वापस जा रहे हैं। ये सब बहुत सारे उनकी कुशलता के अनुरूप उनकी मजदूरी दूसरे प्रदेशों से बेहतर जीवन स्तर, पारिवारिक कलम तथा सामाजिक आर्थिक परिवेश में कहीं न कहीं इनके लिए जिम्मेदार है। इसीलिए इनके यही कारण सबसे बड़ा है कि इनको बिहार से बाहर जाना, और बहुत सारे कारण जिसकी आपको चर्चा करेंगे। इसी तरह से हम इसको ऐतिहासिक दृष्टि से अगर देखें तो बिहार आज़ादी से पहले में से एक ऐसा प्रदेश है जहां पर इस तरह की समस्या पहले से ही चली आ रही है। और बिहार के अप्रवासी मजदूरों की स्थिति को ठीक से समझने के लिए जो बिहार की राजनीतिक, सामाजिक, आर्थिक, सांस्कृतिक एवं पारिवारिक पृष्ठभूमि को ठीक समझना है, ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा कारण है जिसके आधार पर हम ये इनका विश्लेषण कर सकते हैं कि ऐसा कौन सा कारण है, ऐसी कौन सी इनकी स्थिति है जिसके कारण ये हमारे मजदूर जो है इनका पठन पाठन नहीं हो पाता है और इसलिए जो है अच्छे रोजगार धंधे इनको प्राप्त नहीं होते। आज 2020 में कोरोना जैसी वैश्विक महामारी ने भले ही इन्हें घर आने के लिए विवश कर दिया है, लेकिन इस चुनौती में ही कहीं न कहीं अवसर भी छिपा हुआ है। आज इसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण हमारे सामने है कि आज हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने लोकल को वोकल बनाते हुए जिस आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने की मुहिम में जुटे हुए हैं, उस लक्ष्य को पाने में सबसे ज्यादा अगर कोई कारगर होगा कि अप्रवासी मजदूर ही कारगर होगा। और इन्हीं को सब दृष्टिगत रखते हुए आज अभी 11 बजे मैं अभी टेलीविजन देख रहा था, हमारे देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने गरीब इन जो अप्रवासी मजदूर जो अपने घर वापस आ गए हैं, जो वापस नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, इनकी इस स्थिति को देखते हुए आज ही के दिन बिहार में खगड़िया के तेलिहर कस्बे में 6 राज्यों में गरीब कल्याण रोजगार अभियान योजना का वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के जरिए शुरुआत किया है, जिसमें 6 प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री भी सम्मिलित थे। हमारे प्रदेश के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी ने भी इस संदर्भ में भी इसको अटेंड किया है। मेरे ख्याल से अभी भी प्रोग्राम ये टीवी पर भी आ ही रहा है। इसके अनुसार 12 मंत्रालयों विभागों की तरफ से रोजगार दिया जाएगा और हर राज्य में 25-25 हजार श्रमिकों मजदूरों को रोजगार मिलेगा। और इस योजना के तहत बिहार ऐसे प्रदेश में जो 38 प्रदेश में से 32 जिलों में का इस गरीब कल्याण रोजगार अभियान हेतु चयन किया गया है, जिसमें सर्वप्रथम जिसका मैं खगड़िया तिलहर का ही नाम बता रहा था, अभी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने वहाँ के जिलाधिकारी, वहाँ के जो जनता है, जो अप्रवासी मजदूर हैं, उनसे भी अभी चर्चा कर रहे थे। इस अभियान के द्वारा मजदूरों को कम से कम 125 दिन का रोजगार एवं कार्य का अवसर भी प्राप्त होगा। और इससे क्या होगा कि इससे जो है इन मजदूरों की जो ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों का विकास तो होगा ही, साथ ही साथ इनकी आर्थिक स्थिति में भी काफी विकास होगा। तो इस तरह का जो पूरे देश में 6 राज्यों में 116 जिलों में ये इस योजना को लागू किया गया है। इसमें मुख्य रूप से बिहार, उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, उड़ीसा, झारखंड, ये सारे जो है प्रदेश सम्मिलित किए गए हैं, जिसमें से इन 6 राज्यों में से 116 जिलों को ही चुना गया है, जिसमें ये गरीब कल्याण रोजगार अभियान योजना के तहत भारत सरकार 50,000 करोड़ रुपए का अनुदान देने जा रही है, जिसके तहत ये सभी अप्रवासी जो मजदूर हैं, जो इनकी समस्याएं हैं, जो इनकी आर्थिक तंगी है, जो घर रहना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए रोजगार का भी अवसर प्राप्त होगा। इनको दृष्टिगत रखते हुए मैं अपने देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को, कि मैं संवैधानिक पद पर हूँ, लेकिन ये बड़ी ही कोरोना प्रदेश सरकार तो इसके लिए तरह तरह की सुविधाएं प्रदान कर ही रही है। बिहार ऐसे प्रदेश हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी ने भी काफी योजनाएं चलाई है और आगे भी चलाने का उन्होंने प्रावधान किया है। जैसे 1,000 रुपये का सबको अनुदान दिया था कई लाख मजदूरों को, लेकिन ये केंद्र सरकार ने भी इस तरह का योजनाएं अभी खगड़िया से शुरू किया है और भी 32 जिलों में शुरू किया जाएगा, जिससे अप्रवासी मजदूर जी यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं। जैसे मनरेगा, बहुत तरह की योजनाएं चलती हैं ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में, मनरेगा उसमें से एक है, और भी बहुत सारी योजनाएं हैं, पंचायत डेवलपमेंट, जिससे ये अप्रवासी मजदूर होंगे, क्योंकि जिन इनकी समस्याएं हैं, जो इनकी हकीकत है, जो कारण है, शिक्षा का अभाव के कारण ये गरीब रहते हैं, इनकी आर्थिक बहुत तंगी रहती है, इसलिए इनको बाहर जाना पड़ता है। यही इनकी जो है ग्राउंड रियलिटी है। आप तो बिहार माइग्रेंट लेबर्स, अदरवाइज यहाँ पर अगर इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट हो, रोजगार के अवसर पैदा हो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, और निस्संदेह हम तो कहते हैं कि जो आत्मनिर्भर भारत की जो बात हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने तो बोधन किया है, छोटे छोटे उद्योग धंधे इन ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में भी चलाए जा सकते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योरियल डेवलपमेंट के द्वारा, जिससे कि हम इनको रोजगार का अवसर प्रदान करेंगे तो इनकी आर्थिक तंगी भी दूर होगी और प्रदेश और देश का आर्थिक विकास भी होगा। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ बहुत ज्यादा न कहते हुए मैं इस का एक प्रति जो जितने स्पीकर आए हैं, जो इसमें पार्टिसिपेंट हैं, ऑर्गेनाइजर, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि इनकी क्या वास्तव में हकीकत है, इस पर आप लोग विस्तृत रूप से चर्चा करेंगे। और हमारा एक इस संदर्भ में सुझाव भी है कि जो इसमें भी डिस्कशन से अच्छी बातें आए, जो भी सुझाव आए, उसको आप प्रदेश सरकार को, केंद्र सरकार को इस हकीकत के बारे में जानकारी देने की कृपा करेंगे, तभी इस वेबिनार की सफलता होगी। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं एक बार पुनः आप सभी लोगों को नमस्कार करते हुए, और विशेष रूप से प्राचार्य महोदय ने जो एक वेबिनार कराया है, वहाँ पर भी हमको पता चला है कि नया मैनेजमेंट डिपार्टमेंट को भी मान्यता मिली है, बहुत सारे कोर्स को, उसके लिए भी बधाई देता हूँ। बीएस कॉलेज बहुत ही पुराना है और इनके नेतृत्व में बहुत ही अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं। इनके विश्वविद्यालय की तरफ से, अपनी तरफ से मैं इनको बार बार शुभकामनाएं प्रेषित करता हूं और इस वेबिनार की सफलता की कामना करता हूं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you,
सर।
sir.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
Thank you,
सर
sir.
आपका। यू रियली स्पोक वेरी वेल एंड आपने बिल्कुल से बताया कि अभी हमारी जमीनी हकीकत क्या है, exactly the ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during this COVID-19 crisis. So I would like to tell you about the BS College, the organizer basically, why this webinar and what is the relevance of this webinar. As the participants are connected and the management department has put in all the effort to conduct this webinar on this very relevant topic, that is ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis, because we can see for past few months, I mean, every day people are coming, the laborers from different states, especially from Delhi, Mumbai, and they are coming up. And whatever the cases were here, the infection level has actually increased. And we have to see how far they are traveling, they are walking, some of them are really, I mean, losing their life, and they are coming. So it is actually a crisis time for us, for which we need to talk it out. So the organizer, BS College, is doing a commendable job by conducting this webinar on this very burning issue. So I would like to mention a few lines about the organizer, that is BS College Danapur. Danapur is one of the 4 subdivision of Patna tributaries of Son River, is like a necklace around Danapur, and its northern flank is Diara area. The entire Diara is prone to recurring flood. The majority populace of Diara belongs to BC, EBC, SC, and minority community. Only education can bring about social and gender equality in the society. Sri Bindeshwar Singh was a visionary person who realized and donated 13.5 acres of prime land and worked relentlessly for the cause, and finally this college came into shape in 1954, as our DC sir also mentioned about it. BS College Danapur is suburban institution situated at a distance of 15 kilometers from Gandhi Maidan, and the nearest railway station is Danapur railway station, approximately 9-kilometer driving distance. The college is easily approachable from Jayaprakash Narayan International Airport, which is a distance of 11.2 kilometer via Digha Bridge Link Road. It became a constituent unit of Magad University, Bodh Gaya, in the year 1975. After bifurcating of Magad University, Bodh Gaya, Patliputra University, Patna was established on 18th March 2018 by the order of Government of Bihar. The BS College became part of Patliputra University after that, a constituent unit of Patliputra University. So we aim to provide quality education to students from diverse backgrounds, irrespective of region, religion, caste, and economic strata. Various academic co-curricular activities have been restored the confidence of their surrounding community. So we wish to march in progressive way to serve the society and the country. And definitely, I think by conducting this webinar, we are moving one step ahead by fulfilling our goal. So I would wholeheartedly congratulate our patron, Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar, who is the principal of BS College Danapur, who actually worked tirelessly to bring this management course as well as the vocational course, and worked day night to get the AICTE approval. So now I would like to request Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar for his words. So sir, please kindly honor us with your gracious words. Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar.
हेलो, देखो तो जल आया है। हेलो,
Yes sir, you are audible sir.
देखो, हेलो, माननीय कुलपति महोदय ने अभी कहा, हम उनकी बातों से सहमत हैं और उनको कोटि कोटि महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से और अपनी ओर से और सारे श्रोताओं और वक्ताओं की ओर से उनका आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। उन्होंने जो यशस्वी भाषण हम लोगों को दिया, जो बातें बताई, वो विचारणीय है, अनुकरणीय है और सदा रहेगी। हम बीएस कॉलेज के जो मैनेजमेंट डिपार्टमेंट के प्रति आभार व्यक्त करते हैं, जिन्होंने ग्राउंड रियलिटी ऑफ बिहारी माइग्रेंट ड्यूरिंग द कोविड-19 क्राइसिस के ऊपर जो है ये वेबिनार का आयोजन करवाया। और मनोज सिन्हा, ऋषिकेश कुमार जी जो मुख्य वक्ता हैं, हम लोग उनको सुनेंगे। हम सारे श्रोताओं को, वक्ताओं को और हमारे मुख्य अतिथि हमारे चीफ पेट्रन थे, वो अपने अमूल्य समय, अपने व्यस्ततम समय से हम लोगों को जो समय उन्होंने दिया है, उसके प्रति हम आभार व्यक्त करते हैं उनको। जो माइग्रेंट हैं, वो 2011 की जो जनगणना थी, उसमें करीब करीब देश में 45 करोड़ के आसपास प्रवासी कामगार थे और 45 करोड़ में 35 कामगार बिहार और यूपी से ही आती थी। तो बिहार और यूपी से सटा हुआ जो इलाका है बिहार का, वहाँ जो प्रवासी मजदूर हैं वो विश्वविख्यात हैं। एक लोकोक्ति हम जब पढ़ते थे तो प्रसिद्ध थी कि बिहार का मजदूर और केरल की नर्स हैं, वो दुनिया में कहीं भी मिल जाएगी। जहाँ भी आप खोजेंगे वहाँ भी आपको सुगमता से बिहार के मजदूर मिल जाएंगे और केरल की नर्सें मिल जाएंगी। तो बिहारी अपने नौकरी के लिए, अपनी जीविका के लिए बाहर जाते हैं, बाहर बसते हैं। होम सिकनेस इन लोगों में कम है और जो ये कोविड-19 नोवेल कोविड वायरस का जो अटैक हुआ, उसके बाद जो हमारे प्रवासी जो मजदूर थे, प्रवासी जो भाई बहन थे, वो जिन देशों में, जिन राज्यों में, जिन जगहों पे रह के वो राज्य की, देश की, प्रदेश की सेवा कर रहे थे, उन्हीं लोगों ने विपदा काल में उनको नौकरी से भी और खोली से भी, मतलब घर से भी बेदखल कर दिया और नौकरी से भी बेदखल कर दिया। तो उन लोगों ने बिहार की ओर अपना रुख किया कि जन्मभूमि की ओर वो आना उचित समझ रहे थे और सरकारें भी, चाहे वो केंद्र की सरकार हो चाहे राज्य की सरकार हो, उन लोगों को भरपूर अपना सहयोग दिया। और करीब करीब, जैसा कि आंकड़ा कहता है कि 1400 ट्रेनों के माध्यम से और करीब करीब 32 लाख के आसपास माइग्रेंट आए। कुछ तो प्रवासी श्रमिक थे, कुछ पर्यटक थे, छात्र थे, जैसे कोटा उटा में आप देख रहे हैं वो आए। तो हमारे एक महाविद्यालय में राम हेलो हाँ,
Yes, sir, we are getting noticed.
और करीब करीब हमारी सरकारों ने करीब 29 लाख श्रमिकों को उनके खातों में करीब 1,000 रुपए प्रति श्रमिक। पहले तो श्रमिकों को जो आना था दूर दराज के राज्यों से, तो राज्य सरकारें कुछ कर रही थी, लेकिन केंद्र सरकारों की स्पष्ट नीति
और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश के बाद
जो श्रमिक हैं वो सुगमता से बिहार आए। यूपी आए और हमने कोविड-19 संक्रमण काल में हमारे महाविद्यालय में क्वारंटीन कॉलेज हम उसके भी प्रभार में हैं। तो वहाँ पे हमने देखा कि 85% जो कामगार हैं वो थोड़े दलित और कमजोर वर्ग से आते हैं। तो उनके लिए हमने देखा कि भाई ये सेमी स्किल्ड ज़्यादा हैं, स्किल्ड कम हैं। तो सरकारों को, हमारी सरकार, राज्य सरकारें भी काम कर रही है, मैपिंग कर रही है कि कौन कौन जिससे क्वारंटीन सेंटर में जितने श्रमिक ठहरे थे उसका एक मैपिंग होना चाहिए और उसका एक लेखा जोखा होना चाहिए, कौन श्रमिक कहाँ जा रहे हैं, किस राज्य में जा रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, जिससे कि विपदा के काल में हम अपने राज्य के श्रमिकों को यथोचित मदद दे सकें। हमारा यही सुझाव है। ऐसे हमारे जो अन्य वक्ता हैं वो कहेंगे, हम लोग उनको सुनने आए हैं अपनी बात। और कोरोना वायरस के दुख ने प्रवासी कामगारों के चरित्र में बड़ा परिवर्तन किया है और इसी काल में हरिवंश राय बच्चन की एक कविता जो है वो हमको बहुत याद आती है। एक रहीन ईर, एक रहीन पीर, एक रहीन हम, यही है। और इसी शब्दों के साथ हम आप लोगों का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हैं, हार्दिक महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से, अपनी ओर से धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, थैंक यू सो वेरी मच सर। And I request all the participants, kindly you mute your audio. And there is one more announcement. Everybody, please stay tuned till the end so that all of you will be getting your certificate and whatever questions, because now we are actually initiating the session where our key speakers and the speakers will be telling you about this topic, that is what is the ground reality and being Bihari. And it's our, I think it's our moral duty also to know and understand and feel their pain and how can we be helpful to them. So certainly, I would like all of you, the participants, kindly be there till end. And if you have any query, any question, there you can see the chat box in your screen. So please, after the speakers, while they will speak, while they will deliver their thought, kindly write down your questions, whatever you want to ask from them. And at the end, we'll take a few questions which are relevant, because there may be repetitive questions. So certainly won't be able to take up all the questions. And due to time constraint also, whatever will be the relevant questions, similar kind of. So we'll pick up few, 2-3 questions and we'll ask the speakers to explain about them. Now, since it's time exactly to start the real session, and I am very much honored and thankful to our Vice Chancellor, sir, to give us the time and give us so valuable suggestions, and our patron, Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar, for organizing this webinar, as well as the entire team of this webinar. Now, I would like to request Mr. Manoj Sinha, MD, Bihar Chamber of Commerce, Indian Institute of Leadership and Enterprise Development. He is the key person to talk on this topic, that is ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis. Few lines to mention about him is, and we are, the entire family of BS College is really very, very thankful to you, sir, that you have given us your valuable time. So, Sir Manoj Sinha is an alumnus of IIM Kolkata, having 20 years experience in training, consultancy, and entrepreneurship development. He has trained all the block development officers of Bihar and IS officers of 2017, 2016, and 2014 of Bihar cadre. Management development program are his forte and is a regular in NTPC, IOCL, Power Grid, and Corporate. He has established an incubation center in Magad Mahila College and Science College too. He is President, National HRD Network, Executive President, Patna Management Association, that is AIMA, Secretary, NIPM, Secretary, SAVE International, and Chairman, CII, Startup, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Task Force. He is in the board of Incubation Hub, Patna University. So the entire family from BS College is very much glad to have you today with us, sir. So I request you, please come on the dais and start up with your thought. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So it's a matter of great pleasure for me to address this August gathering. First of all, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor of the University and the Principal for providing me the opportunity to speak before such an elite gathering. I was very much interested in what the Vice Chancellor Sahab was speaking and what the Principal Sahab was speaking. In fact, when I heard the Vice Chancellor speak, I found that most of the content which I was going to present, he already spoke. So now I have to think that what to talk about, but still practical dimensions are there, and definitely this topic is very dear to everybody. It was a mere chance that yesterday I received a call from one of the government corporations asking me to do some skill development for a part of this migrant labor group. So yesterday I met the managing director of that corporation, and we discussed at length of how to go about it. So maybe I am taking a practical part also in the rehabilitation of these migrant workers. So maybe a little bit of practicality may also be visible in what I am going to talk about. So let this technology take its own course, and I will run the presentation in my own way. So the topic is ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis. And as you all have seen, the various visuals flashing on the screen, the pathetic visuals, many of which has touched us. Most of the visuals we were able to connect with. We could always feel the pain which the migrant labor were undergoing, because many of them, majority of them, if not the maximum, belonged to this state. So all of us have felt the pain when we saw those visuals. So I would like to go to the next slide. Rajesh Kumarji, if you can go to the next slide. Even if you are not able to go, I can understand that there are various technicalities. No problem, you can take your own pace. Now, India has 65 million interstate migrants, and you will be surprised that half the population of Goa, Maharashtra, and Kerala and Punjab is migrant. Now, the most telling aspect of this is that 80% of these migrants lack a definite identity and lack a domicile. You will be touched to know that 45% of these migrants share one room among 5 individuals. Now you can imagine the type of condition in which they live there, and 40% of them use community water. Now, as you all are aware, when they use community water, then the problem of diseases definitely will be there. These are some of the visuals which have touched us. As you can see, the children walking on the road, the women with the heavy load on their head, walking on the streets, on the road, in the heat, without any food. Many of them suffering from fever. Many of them might be suffering from COVID when they started. So these are some of the visuals which have touched us to the core of our heart. Now, who are these migrant labor? They are casual and unskilled workers who move about in a systematic manner from one region to another, and they offer their services on a temporary and seasonal basis. So let us go to the next slide. Let me give you the work profile of the type of work which these migrant laborers get when they move outside their state. You will be surprised to know that 41% of them become drivers. So you will find, if you go anywhere like Calcutta, Mumbai or Delhi, if you take an auto or if you take a cab, then you will find the Bihari accent of the driver. And then 32% work as delivery workers, a small percent, 9%. Now can you hear me? Somebody had muted.
Yes, sir.
Zoom पे हो रहा है वो।
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
उसमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? मैंने Zoom है देखो तो।
Okay, okay.
नहीं ना Zoom।
Fine.
Google
How
Meet
long it has been
नहीं
muted
लोग
now?
फैमिली वाले लोग ग्रुप बनाया है।
How long it was
Zoom
muted?
Just for a second.
देख।
Okay, just
और
for a
उसमें
second.
पासवर्ड है सब लोग
Fine.
दिए हुए हैं।
So
That's
as
why
डाउनलोड करके
requested.
उसको क्लिक
Excuse me,
कीजिए
sir.
ना अपने
The
होम
other participants kindly mute your audio. The other participants kindly mute your audio.
yeah, other participants kindly mute your audio so that you can hear in a very clear manner.
Yes, we can hear
So
Manoj sir. He is talking the reality.
ज्वाइन मीटिंग
Other participants kindly mute. It's a request. Other participants
नहीं
kindly
कोई ऐप
mute.
ना होगा जब मीटिंग का टाइम उस टाइम पर
Rajesh ji, kindly mute every participant.
So we have 9% security guard, we have 9% housekeeping staff and others. And the most important dimension is that 92% of the migrant workforce is male and 8% is female. And as the statistics go, they are young. In the age group of 18 to 20 years, we have 35%. And in the age group of 21 to 25 years, we have 30%. And what is their monthly earnings? For 35%, the monthly earning is 15,000 to 20,000, and this is what attracts them to those places. So let us move forward. Now, from where these migrants come and from where do they go, to which destination? So a few statistics for all of you. 19% are from UP, 12% are from Bihar, Orissa is 13%. and the preferred destinations are,
Sign up, sign in.
now we can see many of them, 40% are moving to Bangalore. Bangalore has become their destination these days. 15% to Gurgaon, 12% to Delhi, Noida. Put together, it comes to round about 32%. So Delhi, Bangalore has become the new hub for these migrant labor. I'll come to these labors in context of Bihar after some time. Now, what is the reason for this migration? The biggest reason for this migration is work, business, and if we take the students, then education is also there. And for women, marriage may also be the reason for their movement. So what are the problems which are faced by these migrant labor? First of all, they have to live in a very unhygienic condition. As I've already told you, in a small 10 by 10 space, we can have 5 individuals staying. And moreover, there is a lot of discrimination which takes place at the workplace on the basis of caste, religion, gender, and place also. Then they are paid low salaries. There is less of social security despite various government regulations. And we have physical and mental exploitation also. They suffer from various health problems and they have transportation issues also. So these are some of the problems which they have to face. I would like the presenter to move the slide forward. Please move the slide forward. More.
Yes, sir.
Forward, forward. Go forward, go forward. Yes. As you can see, these migrants, these are some of the horrific depictions which you can see with children on the road. And we have been touched by this visual of a child sleeping on the suitcase. We have all seen this. Next slide, please. Okay. On the thela, you can find the entire family. We were also touched by this visual. Many of you must have seen a child waking up the dead mother.
Yes.
Now, imagine this. Now, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, before this, yes. Now, there was a commotion at Bandra station when the word went around of the trains being provided. So there was a lot of confusion also. In the next visual, you can see their faces, the child, on the shoulders of this man. Where is the hope? I think when we try to understand these migrant laborers of Bihar, there is a certain sensitization which needs to happen. Data, statistics, and what the government is doing, we all can read in the newspapers, but let us try to connect, let us try to emotionally connect with those migrants. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, next, before this, yes. After this, Bandra, Jyoti Kumari. Next slide, please. Yes, 15-year Jyoti cycled 1200 kilometers with her ailing father at the back. And this 11-year-old, now, what happens when we see them in the news channels? Overnight, you will find many people coming forward to help such people. Okay, fine. The news channels have highlighted, but there are many others whom they have not highlighted. We have to think about them also, and we have to think how in our own ways we can connect to these people. Next slide, please. Yes. Now, according to the study by Tata Institute of Social Science, from across 7 districts of Bihar, at least one person has migrated from 60% of the household. I'll give you some of the latest data also about which the Vice Chancellor was talking about. This day is very, very auspicious. Why it is auspicious? Next slide, please. Because today only our Prime Minister is launching this Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. And the best part is that this is being launched from one of the village from Khagadia district of Bihar. And Chief Minister must be there, Deputy CM is also there, and we have 5 other states who are participating. Now, there are total 116 districts, and we have 32 districts from Bihar also in that. And the various states are Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, and Orissa. Now, regarding the skill mapping about which we had talked earlier, approximately a few numbers here and there, 25 lakh migrants have landed in Bihar. Out of that, at least 10 lakhs have already been engaged, and for the rest, the Chief Minister has already started working. And I'll tell you about this Yojana for which I received this proposal. This is the Chief Minister's Skilled Labor Entrepreneur Cluster Scheme, in which the migrant's profile has already been mapped. The mapping is going on. It is a very dynamic process, and continuously the data is being updated. So they have been profiled, and the government has allotted various departments, and they have been given the responsibility of creating livelihood for them. So yesterday when I was interacting with one of the departments, there was one concern, and that concern was that as of now, the government is thinking of creating livelihood, and we are talking of 6 months. So what I propose, as the Vice Chancellor had said that we should give some proposals also, we have to think beyond the 6 months. We have to think at least for supporting this migrant labor, for creating their livelihood for 1 year, 2 years down the line, so that sustainable livelihood entrepreneurship is generated for them. Now, I would like to end my presentation. Can you go on the last slide, please? Last slide. Can you click on the video, which is at the bottom, not at the top? The URL, can you play this? Bottom URL. Yes, can you play this? Does it open on a separate window? Will it open?
We're just trying, sir.
Fine. Is it? It's not opening. Just click once more. If you don't have an interconnection, it will not come. let me. It's not coming. Fine. So if it's not coming, then I end my presentation. The objective of this presentation was to sensitize all of you. The government is doing their lot. They are already in the process of rehabilitation of these migrant labor. My suggestion is to create a sustainable livelihood for them, and we all in our own way should contribute in some way for the upliftment of these migrant labor. They can be connected to the industrial units existing in Bihar. They can take up a job there, and we would like these migrant labor to remain wherever they are, and they should not feel the need to go back to the states where they have migrated. So thank you all of you, and maybe after the next presentation we can take the questions. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. It was really very informative. Whatever you mentioned about your ideas and the Abhiyan, Yojana Rojgar Abhiyan, which is initiated by the Bihar government, and the way out you have shown how they can be engaged and what can we do. There are a few questions also related to that, which will be taken up at the end. Now, without further ado, I'll turn to the time now over to our another speaker, Dr. Rishikesh Kumar. Dr. Rishikesh Kumar is Assistant Professor, FMS, that is NIFT Patna, from NIFT Patna. So we are honored to have you, sir, here. So before I call him on the dais, I'll just mention a few lines about him. Dr. Rishikesh Kumar, Assistant Professor, FMS NIFT Patna, is Assistant Professor of Department of Fashion Management Studies at the National Institute of Fashion Technology, Patna. PGD BM in Marketing Management from XISS, Ranchi, 2008. And he is PhD in Management from Magad University, Bodh Gaya, 2015. Having an industrial exposure in Indo-US MIM, Bangalore, he is a seasoned faculty member with an experience over more than 10 years of teaching in various management programs. We aim to provide quality education to students from diverse backgrounds, irrespective of region, religion, caste, and economic strata. So that is why the sir is so renowned, so well learned, well understood about the ground reality. So we are very much honored to have you on this pleasant morning, sir. Sir, please, I welcome you on behalf of entire BS College. Rishikesh, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Vinashri ma'am. At the outset, I would like to extend my thanks to BS College Danapur, to the respected VC sir for his words, to the respected principal sir for his blessings, and for making this arrangement on this very burning topic, ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis. So, let's start with our session, our topic. Can we have the PPT, please?
Sure.
Please, next slide, please. So to start with the ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis, we will just try to understand the first. Please move to the next slide. Yes. So let's try to have a look on the stats of labor migration first. So approximately 3% of the world's population, some 232 million people, are living and are in large part working in a country other than that of their birth. Labor migration issue raise complex and sensitive political, human rights, economic and social concerns, as well as an array of legal and regulatory challenges. So next slide, please. Next. Fine. So here in this very slide, we'll try to understand that what are those two important factors which makes labor migration relevant for the business. The first factor is efficient migration system which responds to labor market needs. Employers regard migration as a vehicle for fulfilling personal aspirations, for balancing labor supply and demand, for sparking innovation, and for transferring and spreading skills. All employers benefit from clear, transparent, and efficient national immigration laws and policies that permit the movement of workers when and where they are needed. Overly complex and sometimes frequently changing systems hinder compliance with national laws and threaten labor market protections. The current trend of using migration as a political tool may prove to be harmful for business expansion and economic growth. Now, coming to the second point, efficient migration system produce fair and ethical recruitment. Few governments have well-regulated systems for the legal movement of low-skilled workers. This situation enables many low-skilled migrants to become the victims of abusive recruitment practices, such as debt bondage, forced labor, and human trafficking that is often carried out by unregulated intermediaries to secure jobs abroad. Now, coming to the next slide, please. Here, in this very slide, we will try to understand what is out migration and the importance of out migration from Bihar. Next slide, please. Yes. So, out migration from Bihar is well-established phenomenon, started back in the 19th century, seems shot up in the recent decade. The flow and direction of migration has also been altered in the course of time, and most of the migration is taking place towards the northwestern and western parts of India. The states like Delhi, Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, and Gujarat account for half of the intercensal migrants. The prime reason of such heavy outflow is related to employment. Next slide, please. Next. People are migrating not only in the please go back. The earlier slide, please go back.
Previous
slide, please.
Yeah, this one.
Yes. People are migrating not only in the absence of employment at their native place, but also to secure better earnings also. It seems that out migration for employment is taking place not only in poor and socially backward households, but the members of relatively affluent households are also migrating either in the same proportion or even higher. Around 1/5 household has received remittances sent by the migrants of the household. The remittances comprise almost half to 1/3 of the household expenditure. Irrespective of economic status of the household, it is mostly spent on food and other items of consumer expenditure, healthcare, and education of the family members. Next slide, please. So, with the help of earlier slide, what we try to understand that how exactly this very out migration is contributing its role, adding some value in the life of migrant laborers. And in this very slide, we are discussing Bihari migrant laborers during COVID-19 crisis. So next slide, please. Yes. So, according to data released by the Bihar government, 1 of 4 migrants returning from Delhi in Bihar have been found positive. The state has tested 835 Delhi returnees, of which 218 or 26% have the infection until May 18. The state had tested 8337 people who had come from outside of the state. Of these, 651 tested positive. Of these 265 samples of migrant workers who returned from West Bengal, 33 tested positive. Next slide, please. Reportedly, the count of migrants tested from each state is not proportional to the total number who have returned from the state, yet Delhi is an outlier along with Bengal and Haryana. This data also indicates that there is a presence of large asymptomatic population in Delhi, which some are making the move to Bihar and other states. Asymptomatic, the term which we have used here, actually means that people, those who do not show any symptoms, but they may be the carrier of the coronavirus. Coming to the next section, migrant laborers. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay. So, of the 525 migrant laborers who have tested positive for coronavirus, what we have discussed here, 185 returned from New Delhi, followed by 123 from Gujarat and 106 from Maharashtra. As Bihar saw a spike in coronavirus. Next slide, please. Yes. So as Bihar saw a spike in coronavirus cases between May 4 and May 17 from 528 to 1,178, the number shows the majority of 650 new cases from migrant workers who have returned to the state. It means what, that people, migrant workers, those who migrated from other states to Bihar, they actually, everyone out of 4 were the carrier. So among the 650, the new coronavirus cases in Bihar, 525 were of migrant laborers. Of these, 185 infected migrants returned from New Delhi, followed by 123 from Gujarat and 106 from Maharashtra. Now, what government claims? Next slide, please. Now, what government claims? Next slide, please. So government claims that all these migrants have been placed in a government-run isolation centers which have been set up in the districts. This will eliminate the possibility of their mixing with the other villagers. In addition to the isolation centers being run by the state health department, the disaster management department is also operating. It's operating 6,209 quarantine centers where more than 3.53 lakh migrants have been placed. Now let's talk about the current scenario. Next slide, please. Yes, the next slide. Yes, current scenario. So in the current scenario, next slide, please. We are just sharing one example. Yes, we are just sharing an example. Migrant laborers coming to the host state, Punjab. See, we have said that host state which actually is inviting, attracting the major labor force from the states like Bihar and UP. So, migrant laborers coming to the host state, Punjab, from Bihar for sowing paddy have sent alarm bells rising a laborer who had come to Ratipur village near Machiwara from Bihar along with 34 others in bus for sowing paddy had tested positive for the COVID-19 recently. So this is what happening at present. The problem is what that earlier when the people were coming, they were coming with they were carrying the virus. Unfortunately, 1 in every 4 to 5 people. Now, the moment when these people are going back, these laborers are going back, unfortunately, they have become a carrier once again, because the bus where they have been carried, quite possible the situation, the health and hygiene situation was not so hygienic, and because of that, quite possible this particular pandemic could have people could have got infected because of this virus, quite possible. So now let's talk about the ground reality. Next slide, please. So in this very slide, in this very section, we'll try to talk about the ground reality. Next slide, please. In this very section, thank you. In this very section, we'll try to discuss about the ground reality and the possible solution. So until very recently, most Indians were unaware of the statute tilted the Interstate Migrant Workmen Regulation of Employment and Condition of Service Act 1979. At the time the act was introduced, these people or the laborers were recruited by contractors to work on large construction projects with no fixed working hours. Aside from being ill-treated, often they were not even paid. Next slide, please. Since existing laws were inadequate, new legislation was promulgated with the object and reasons stating that the interstate migrant workmen are generally illiterate, unorganized, and have normally to work under extremely adverse conditions. And in view of these hardships and some administrative and legislative arrangements, both in a state form where they are recruited and also in the state where they are engaged for work, are necessary to secure effective protection against their exploitation. So it's one thing to have a law and altogether a different matter for it to be effectively implemented. As witnessed by the recent hardships which the migrant laborers confronted, our law and correspondingly the legal system failed these voiceless citizens. But it's really the collective failure of our society. The government, law enforcement agencies, businesses, and civil society have all let down this section of Indians who have been termed as builders of our booming economy. So before examining the provisions of the Act, which could have come to the rescue of these migrants, let us look at some data, which will also detail that they are by no means insignificant. According to 2011 census, India has 5.6 crore interstate migrants, most of who come from the Hindi-speaking belt of UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh. A majority of such migrants work in the informal, unorganized sector. A large number are daily wagers, and very few have any form of valid identity card, given their transient existence. Notably, while the number of interstate migrants grew at 55% between the 1991 and 2001 census, it came down to 33% between 2001 and 2011 census. While most migration happens to states like Delhi and Maharashtra, termed as Sapno ki Nagari, dream cities, owing to them being the hub of commercial activity between 2001 and 2011. There was a steady increase in the movement of migrants to other destinations within their own states and sometimes even to other locations within the same district. But in recent years, these migrants were once again drawn towards the Bada Shahar. The contractors who lure these migrants, enticing them with the promise of fulfilling their dreams, are required under the Act to obtain license from an authority, both of the state to which the workman belongs, the very home state, as also the one which they are proposed to be employed, the host state. Establishments hiring them are also required to obtain a certificate of registration before employing them. The Act stipulates that the license may contain conditions regarding the arrangements under which the interstate migrant will be recruited. The remuneration payable, hours of week, fixation of wages, and other essential amenities to be provided. There is an explicit provision regarding the wages to be paid to the migrant workmen, the date from which it is due, and their entitlement to a displacement allowance, suitable residential accommodation, adequate medical facilities, and protective clothing, of course, are also amongst what is to be provided. The Act lays down on the appointment of inspectors by the appropriate government, and inspectors from the home state may visit the establishment where these workmen are employed in the host state to ensure compliance. Punishment for non-compliance is fairly stringent and includes imprisonment. Regrettably, most interstate migrant workmen aren't even aware of their rights. And those who dare raise questions risk losing employment, as also lose their wages, as the contractor usually keep them on hand-to-mouth existence, unfortunately. So, with a view to streamline existing labor laws, the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2019 was introduced in Lok Sabha in July 2019. This code subsumes and replaces 13 labor laws, including the Act, and amongst others, attempts to strengthen migrant labor rights. It provides that where any establishment is employing migrant laborers through a contractor who is required to obtain a license, but who has not done so, then the migrant labor so engaged through the contractor shall be deemed to be employed by the principal employer. It reiterates that provisions relating to the entitlement of the migrant workers to receive a displacement allowance equal to 50% of the monthly wages payable to them. The code was referred to a standing committee towards the end of 2019. In February 2020, I'm saying in February 2020, the committee made its report, and on this issue of migrant laborers noted the unanimous view of the state government and the Labour Ministry that an exclusive chapter on migrant workers be introduced in the code, notwithstanding the special provisions currently referred to in it. The committee also noted that the code should have initiatives similar to those adopted by Odisha for migrant workers, such as toll-free Shramik, Sahayata Helpline, Migrant Labor Help Desk, seasonal hostels for the children and migrant workers, strengthening anti-human trafficking units, and the setting up of migration support centers. Now, the question arises, if the law is there, then why was it not implemented? If the migrants are entitled to a dislocation allowances, then why was not it given to them? In fact, why were even the monies due to them not paid? If the contractor who hires them is to be licensed, then how did he disappear, deserting them and leaving them to fend for themselves? Why were health facilities and other basic amenities not provided? Even if some of this would happen, then we may have been able to hold back these workers from embarking the journey back home. The answer is that the Act in many ways obsolete and hardly enforced anywhere. One may wonder, how is that even possible? But that is the harsh reality. So, like Manoj sir given the reference of Ajivika Bureau by TCS, Tata Consultancies, I'm just citing the data from them. This very agency provides services, security and solutions for migrant workers. It states that a serious, this very agency states that a serious constraint in framing an effective policy for migrants is the lack of credible data on incidence of seasonal migration. Census and NSS that have a significant impact on policy making are unable to capture seasonal and circular migration. Migrants may also be missed out in BPL surveys. Above all, they are unable to participate in the formal electoral system and are denied a fundamental citizenship right, their right to vote. So while the data from the census noted above records them as a numerical percentage, their interests are largely ignored. Those who pontificate that no migrant worker was left starving and could take resource to many of the government schemes need a dose of reality. Indus Action, a policy implementation organization that seeks to bridge the gap between law and action, conducted a survey over a month during the lockdown across 15 major states involving 3,400 families, speaking with over 11,000 migrant workers from various districts, and found that 19% of those surveyed didn't have enough food to satisfy their hunger. Their report notes that majority of other reported having limited food stock, although eligible for free ration. Some of them are forced to buy ration, prices being double, triple the normal rates due to complete shutdown of ration shops and inaccessibility. A part of those who were able to access ration using ration cards has complained about receiving a lesser portion than what they were eligible for. Instances of only rice being distributed have also surfaced. Dal, oil, sugar, other ration items remain out of reach for many. Access to vegetables, milks, and kerosene, not included in ration, poses another challenge. As someone commented, they wanted ration, not bhashan. In another survey conducted by Standard Workers Action Network, reported that rate of hunger and distress exceeded the rate of living. This network also spoke with over 11,000 migrants and found that large number were on the brink of starvation, sometimes not having eaten for 4 days, for 4 long days, just imagine, and often with just 1 day worth of ration remaining. Their survey also revealed that with 89% not having received salaries or payments, 78% had less than 300 in person. Their kids often didn't have milk, and the migrants had to resort to feeding them sugar water. This is what they were offering to their kids. See, of course, no one is to blame for the pandemic, but can the same be said about the ensuing humanitarian crisis? It bowed to the fore the pre-existing vulnerabilities of our labor workforce and the shortcoming of our labor laws. And for the migrant worker, it stole their dignity. Scores of civil society folks doing good work have shared stories that the migrant didn't want charity. They just wanted their due share. Let us just accept that we collectively failed in giving them that. As regard the various schemes rolled out by the government, Indus Action reported that their reach as questionable. 94% of the surveyed families were eligible for at least one benefit scheme, but the survey notes that nearly 20% of them didn't receive any benefit. Indus notes that this worrying trend can be credited to Aadhaar linkage problems and mobile numbers of the stakeholders not registered with the banks. So while we were all worried about the novel coronavirus, the migrant workers who witnessed near starvation was also plagued by worries about their future. Rightly, so Indus surveyed observed that 48% of the respondents will be unemployed post-lockdown. See the data. It very clearly says that around 48% of the respondents will be unemployed post-lockdown. And those employable will be willing to put their dreams on hold for a while, being in no rush to return to the big cities, which treated them with the disdain. So from legal perspective, some courts
correction can be done to share the learnings from the present crisis with the standing committee, considering the code or having the issues taken up in Rajya Sabha before it finally becomes a law. Amongst other, what can be incorporated in the chapter proposed for migrant workers are some suggestions of the Ajivika Bureau. These include schemes like universalization of PDS as proposed by the government and the elimination of domicility based eligibility criteria, providing safe and hygienic shelter facilities. Provision also must be made. These are the solutions I'm suggesting. Provision also must be made for the security of single women migrants and allow migrant groups to live together with their communities. These circular workers must also have access to urban healthcare systems, and new legislation must entirely remove the burden of providing documentation from migrant communities. For now, and understandably, these migrants have no faith in the system and are justified to look at us with doubt. In due course, and let us manage our expectation on the timeline when their measly savings, if any, are exhausted. Chances are the migrants will eventually be compelled to return to the same cities where their dream turned to nightmare. They may even be the bigger person and forgive us for how we treated them, but let us not forget what happened. It will be a reflection of our moral compass if going forward, we as a nation and a society in our own microsome don't treat our labor force with the respect they deserve, or extend to them the protection which our laws, the legal system must give them. If extending to them fair and equitable treatment sounds reeking of concepts from public international law or just too utopian, can we at least be human, or is that also expecting too much? So thank you very much. I'm just concluding this very topic with this very line, and thank you, ma'am. Thanks for providing this opportunity. So our last slide is for wishing you all best wishes, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manoj sir. It was really very interesting and very informating. Rather, you put up all the facts, you discussed all the facts very honestly, providing all the facilities, what are the plans of the government and what are the yojanas that are being run out, as Manoj sir also mentioned. And meanwhile, I can see whatever the questions are being put up, Manoj sir is trying to answer it also. So really so nice of you, Manoj sir. And meanwhile, a few questions were there, like I found somebody who wrote XYZ and PQR with that ID. He had wrote that हम लोग एक छात्र के रूप में क्या कर सकते हैं. And I think Dr. Rishikesh sir, he is already, I think Manoj sir only answered that district magistrate can be contacted about that. Right. And now whatever questions are there, I think the participants, you can write in your chat box. Meanwhile, I have taken up few questions. Although I can see Mr. Manoj Sinha has already answered so many questions of Saad Hamid sir and Mohammad Naushad sir's questions are also being answered. So thank you, Manoj sir. Meanwhile, you kept on answering them. So nice. Still, I'll take up some question from with you. The another question was from Saad Hamid only. He was asking that how can be migrant workers' psychology of not moving to urban for work can be changed. So will you be able to highlight on this, sir?
So his question is that the migrant workers do not want to move out of Bihar. Is it so? This is what he wants.
He want to know that how can be the migrant worker psychology of not moving to urban for work can be changed.
So he wants that these migrant workers should go to other places for work. Is it so?
He want to know how the psychology mindset to be changed not to go to the urban areas.
Yes, that was the confusion. So you want that the migrant workers remain in Bihar and they do not go outside.
Of course.
So first of all, for them to remain in Bihar, a source of livelihood has to be provided, and this source of livelihood has to match what he gets there or he was getting there. So maybe if he was getting 15-20,000 per month outside Bihar, then a source of livelihood which generates the same amount is created for them in Bihar. Now, any migrant labor, even if a few thousands here and there less, would like to remain in Bihar. Now, the challenge for the government is, if I talk to you on a practical plane, we already have the problem of joblessness in every state, in the entire country, in the entire world. Added to that is this problem of migrant worker in the scenario of COVID-19. So it makes everything very, very challenging. Now, what are the priorities of the government? See, the government is mapping each and every migrant labor returning back to Bihar. Please understand this. I have seen myself the site being updated in which each and every detail of theirs is being uploaded. So any migrant labor who comes in Bihar, his entire skill is mapped and that person is put under quarantine. This is also a fact. You cannot enter Bihar and not be under quarantine. So please don't worry about that. Now, coming to creating a source of livelihood, it's a very challenging work. But at the same time, the government has already taken up this Herculean task. The state government is doing its bid. As you have seen, the Prime Minister is also, the central government is also pitching in with the various yojanas, and the CM has also chipped in with various yojanas. Now, the government machinery has to execute. Execution is always a challenge. As you are seeing in the COVID, we are seeing so many challenges. So, despite the challenges in execution, definitely we should be able to generate livelihood for these migrant labor. But yes, we may not be able to provide them the type of sustainable income of 15-20,000 which they were getting in Bangalore or which they were getting in Delhi. But yes, something matching to that. So if you are given a facility, maybe 10-12,000, staying in a place in your hometown, in your village, then definitely one would like to be there. So it's a big challenge, but yes, the government is pitching in. And we all should play a supportive role.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I think Muhammad Nashad A. Khan also put up the question on livelihood only. And meanwhile, you have answered. And now also, as you mentioned, I think his answers have been satisfied. I hope so. And the another was, I would like to know, Mugdha Kashyap. Mugdha Kashyap has put up one question. She's asking that she's heard that the migrants who have returned to Bihar, I would like to ask this question from Rishikesh sir, that she's saying that I have heard that migrant laborers who have returned to Bihar, they are unable to maintain social distance and not much quarantine center available for a huge number of population, especially in rural areas. So what should be done in this respect and what may be the consequences of this?
Ma'am, the consequences we have already discussed, like what we said that out of every 4 and 5, one worker is a carrier. And even in when these people are going back to their host states, they are also carrying the virus among with them. So this is the major problem, and this is the outcome of this very problem. And what to do? How to convince them to maintain a social distance? It's once again it's a big challenge. Because like one of the example what we shared earlier in our presentation, like the bus which they shared, and with the help of that very bus which where they actually went to their host state, they went with the virus. So this is the problem.
Right. And another question, sir, that Mr. Saad Hamid, I would request Manoj sir, that he is asking that what will be the effect on agriculture sector, as we are aware that our out agriculture sector is not in a good shape. I mean, it's in a bad shape. So what will be the effect on agricultural sector by this migrant labor?
See, one needs to understand that it is only agriculture which has performed well in India. We have
Right.
adequate food stocks for our teeming millions. My suggestion is that we have to use technology, we have to use new methods of farming. Our youth has to take interest in that. Government, besides giving subsidies, they should motivate the youth of today to start going back to the villages and practice scientific way of farming so that output is increased. And in this scenario, when the COVID has affected all the industries, if we can focus on agriculture, and moreover Bihar is an agrarian state, if our youth can start coming back and start farming on a scientific basis, then definitely we have the examples of various countries like Israel who have increased their output from a very small piece of land. So if we can take lessons from them, and the government, besides playing giving subsidies, plays a supportive role, motivates the youth for taking up all this, then definitely this can drive the economy of this state for some time to come, because now the jobs will be less and the youth of this country, this state specifically, they will be forced to take up entrepreneurship, and some of them may be forced to go back to their villages and start practicing scientific farming. So this is a solution which I propose to the youth, and to bring back agriculture and to contribute to the GDP of the state also.
Yes, thank you, sir. Bringing to you only another question which has been asked by Dr. Shambhunath Singh and Sudhanshu Sekhar, similar question. That is reverse migration is good or bad for state like Bihar?
I think this is a very pertinent question. See, you have to understand the migrant laborers who migrate to various states. The remittances back to the state definitely contributes in some way to the GDP, but the cost is huge in terms of social security, and in terms of health problems, and in terms of the infrastructure problems which they face when they migrate. So the best way is the vision of Dr. Kalam, in which he wanted to provide urban facilities in rural areas. We have to function with that vision, and moreover, we need to have a long-term vision, not something which only functions 5 years to 5 years. We need a 10-year, 15-year, 20-year vision down the line of making our villages better and providing urban facilities there, so that definitely these migrant labor can contribute more to the GDP of the state than in terms of remittances which they send back to the state.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. And you have already answered, I think, Muhammad Naushad Ahmed Khan's question that government is mapping the skill on a continuous basis to arrange the livelihood. By saying this, I think you are very honest, actually, that what the government is implementing in reality, that is a more the basic concern, and we should be aware about it, and it is a challenge how it's actually done in the reality. So thank you very much, sir, Manu Sinha sir, and Dr. Rishikesh sir. I think, is there any question anybody want to ask? We'll hurry up. I hope everybody's answer have been given properly. Yeah, one more question is coming up. I would like Mr. Dr. Rishikesh sir to you. Yes, sir. Is COVID effect? It is from Dr. Muhammad Syed Alam. Is asking, is COVID effect in crowdly population correct statement?
Where did you get this very statement? Did we use this very statement in our presentation?
Dr. Muhammad Syed Alam sir, would you be able to answer this? Is COVID effect in crowdly population correct statement? That is asking.
Where did you get this statement? Did we use?
I think that would be, if he'll be able to answer it.
So I was just trying to check.
Ma'am, can you explain this question, because I'm not able to understand what
exactly
what is the meaning of it.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
is why I
Can you
asked this very question.
explain what is meant by this? Or the
He is
person who
saying
has
that
asked this question maybe they,
yeah. Maybe, but I don't see any answer from him, although I have asked it twice. But is he saying that is COVID effect in crowdly population is a correct statement? I think by this is saying that since we have that crowd population and there, what is the effect and what is the correct effect?
okay.
I mean, how the effect is there? As we all know that it is increasing the number and Bihar is getting
Yes,
more infected due to the migrant laborers.
I got the question. Means
Yes.
since our country is densely populated,
Yes.
Bihar is also very dense. The prevalence of COVID-19 is definitely more in the areas in which the population is dense. If you have 5 people staying together in 10 by 10 rooms, then there are more chances of them being infected by COVID, as we have seen in Dharavi in Mumbai, the way in which there was a spike from there because of the dense population there, the close knit houses there. So definitely it's a challenge for the dense populated areas. You'll have more
Definitely.
incidences.
Definitely. Meanwhile, I'll just request all the participants kindly go to the link and fill up the feedback form. It is very much necessary for our all-round development and whatever is needed. With your valuable suggestions, it will help us to improve in a better way. So it's a request, kindly fill up that feedback form. And I would really like to thank both the speakers, the key speaker and the guest speaker, Mr. Manoj Sinha, and the key speaker, Dr. Rishikesh Kumar, for giving the valuable facts and the reality, presenting the reality of ground reality of the migrant laborers and what the government is doing and what is their plan, how it is planning to execute, and what can we do. Like in many places you suggested to go through the entire facilities or whatever the policies are being made by government and what are the industries can come up and which are the industries are being taken up for providing major vacancies and the work basically, because getting a work is a big challenge what I got from entire session, and what are the yojnas, Rozgar Yojana government is being providing. So that is in reality how it is working. So definitely what we can help, what we can do, that can be taken care with the help of this all Yojana. So thank you very much, sir. Both of you were wonderful today, and honestly speaking, you were honest to put up all the data, the exact ground reality, which we can also see what is going on. And certainly we need to be more vigilant and extend our helping hand in getting the livelihood. Yes, Rajesh Mishra sir. Yeah, I think you can give that feedback form so that everybody can fill up the feedback form. Yes, please. It has been given by Rajesh Mishra sir, that feedback form. So kindly click the link and put in the feedback. It will help us to make us more clear, better. Now, I would like to request and call in the guys, the very dynamic, visionary, and focused personality who is the organizing secretary, Professor Dr. Anjum Ashrafi, who is head of department history and coordinator of MBA, is the person behind organizing this webinar. So certainly I would like to call Professor Dr. Anjum Ashrafi to extend his vote of thanks. Professor Dr. Anjum Ashrafi sir, I would like to request you for your vote of thanks.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Anjum sir.
Yeah.
And not to mention that he continuously, he worked hard to maintain the MBA department, management department, and the placement cell, and everything you could do for the betterment of management department in BS College, Danapur. So, Anju Mashrafi, sir, you're most welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored and lucky to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this special occasion. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gulab Chandram Jaiswal, for giving us time from his busy schedule for this webinar. I personally like both the speakers, Professor Manoj Sinha and Dr. Rishikesh Kumar, deliverable in which they discussed the problems of Bihari migrant laborers they faced, rather still facing during COVID-19 crisis. Both the speakers tried to show the actual picture of Bihari migrant laborers through this one-day webinar. I would like to thank all the participants who made this webinar meaningful by asking their questions. I and Dr. Shambhunath. I also thank to the presenter of this event, Mrs. Meena Shri Hembram, for beautiful presentation. My advisory committee members also contributed a lot to making this session great. They are Dr. Vivekanand Singh, Dr. Anil Kumar, Dr. Anil Nath, Dr. T.S. Ruby, and Dr. Chitlekha, and Professor Rajni Mishra. Finally, I again want to thank our patron, who is also our principal, Professor Dr. Praveen Kumar, for giving motivation and encouragement for conducting two webinars back to back. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Just one announcement for the participants. Participants will be getting the certificate within a week. We'll send you through your email by which you have logged in. And if you don't receive that certificate within a week, kindly revert us with the same email ID where you have logged in. So this is for your information. And it was actually a wonderful session. And from core of my heart, I, Meena Shri Hembram, presenter of this webinar, would like to thank once again, although Anju sir mentioned everyone. But before we conclude, a very
वीना जी कुछ मंजू जी बोलेंगी?
Yes, definitely. Before that, Manju ma'am, would you like to speak something?
It was a very good session organized by the management department, and thank you so much for the enriching and very informative session that we had. Especially, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor of our university, our principal, Dr. Praveen sir, and Anju Mashrafi for organizing this and giving us the opportunity to hear so many good speakers on this very relevant topic, ground reality of Bihari migrant laborers, because coronavirus pandemic has exposed us to the deep flaws of the nation, and on issues of migrant workers and health professionals. All the speakers, they spoke very well. This unprecedented lockdown and then the perpetual extensions have stalled all the economic activities for a while, and almost all the industries and all it's been a confusing state of affairs, and we should do our bit by helping these migrant laborers in whatever way we can. So both our speakers, Shri Manoj Sinha and Rishikesh Singh, they have all given very good suggestions about this very relevant problem. And lastly, I thank everyone for this a very good interactive session we had. And Meena also, a very good presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Indeed, it was very informative, and both the speakers were excellent. And as mentioned by our Vice Chancellor, that whatever suggestions are there, we can put up into the Chief Minister for actual execution. So definitely, we are taking that point into consideration. And now, I would like all of you kindly stand up for national anthem, and I'll request Rajesh Kumar Mishra sir to play the audio up so that everybody can stand up in respect of national anthem. Since we are going to close this session, so I would request everyone, please stand up in your place for the national anthem to conclude this webinar. Rajesh sir, please play.
Yes. National anthem बज रहा है. माता की जय.
भारत माता की जय.
Thank you.
भारत माता की जय. Thank you very much, everyone. It was wonderful.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Now we come to the end of this webinar. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And congratulations to BS Palestine team.
Congratulations to all the organizers.
Thank you.
Organizers.
The entire team, very a big congratulations. Thank you.
Big round of applause. Big round of applause to all the organizers.
Thank you.
Big round of applause.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful words also.
Yeah. Many
Thank you,
congratulations.
Praveen, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hearty
Thank you.
congratulations. Dina ma'am, good
Bye.
presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
उसके बाद इस और जो हम ज्वाइन किए थे, उसके बाद फिर इसने पूछा कि लाइक टू सजेस्ट टू,
वो फीडबैक फॉर्म आएगा.
हाँ वही
फॉर्म आएगा. इस सबका होगा.
The best part about this webinar is that we finished in time. We started in time and we finished in time. So thank you, everyone.